Привет, stalkers! My name is S.T.A.L.K.E.R Costumes, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I love building hideouts. I did it back in the days when I was a child, and I loved it. I do it in other games, even if it has no positive effect on the gameplay whatsoever, and I would love to do it in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Will it be possible? I don't know. But I hope so, and I want to be well prepared. So in today's video, we are going to check out my 4 favorite spots in the S.T.A.L.K.E.R series that I would consider as good S.T.A.L.K.E.R hideouts, and we'll find out why Strelok's hideout might not be so good. To everyone who might be wondering why this is a relevant topic right now, we talked about maintenance of gear and hygiene in the last video, and those two things can be perfectly done in a hideout. So in today's video, we are going to check out the hideout locations that I consider as good hideout locations. If you haven't seen the last video, make sure to check it out, and even better, make sure that you join the Stalker Squad by following this channel on YouTube, so you don't miss out any future videos on our journey through the zone until S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 comes out. So come with me when we check out my favorite 4 hideout locations and rate them based on safety, accessibility, and the stealth value, because those are the 3 things that matter when checking out a hideout location. And I can tell you, one of those locations will be featured in the next video, where we will furnish it and set it up. So make sure to comment which one is your favorite and how you would like to furnish it, how you would set it up so it becomes a good hideout or camp for you and maybe your squad. And without further ado, let's get started. We are going into the zone now. Number 1, a container. It is that simple, and it is most likely one of the most overlooked hideout locations that you can pick in the zone. It is a container in Rostock. Why exactly a container? Well, first of all, you can cut the walls. You can also weld something onto the walls. It's waterproof, windproof, and you can lock it. Also, it is a very safe location because Rostock, as you know, is guarded by the beloved and famous faction, the UT. So the larger threats stay out, so you don't have to worry that any pseudo giants or chimeras decide to take your beautiful little container and turn it into their personal porta potty. Also, it is pretty accessible, meaning you can get to it without any issues, unless duty decides to block the road again. Then of course you will have an issue getting to your little hideout. It could be that perfect, but unfortunately it isn't. There is a big downside. This is not a stealthy hideout at all. So it's in the middle of Rostock, one of the most crowded areas in the zone. Well, crowded in the zone, but people will know where you live. So if you have any larger enemies, just make sure you don't let them know that you are living in a container in the middle of Rostock, because they might prepare a little surprise for you. Furthermore, containers tend to become fridges in winter, and especially during winter. So either insulation will be a topic you will have to worry about, or you will have to add any kind of heat source like an oven, which should be not too difficult. If you craft something out of an old barrel and just weld it together and throw it in, could work perfectly fine. Still, it is something you have to worry about. You need resources for that, you need time for that, and maybe you will also need the right tools for that, and getting, the right tools itself might be a little bit of a side quest for you. So take that into consideration. Overall, I would rate this location as a good beginner hideout if you are someone who is not very well known and also doesn't have too much enemies in the zone. It is very safe, but stealth value pretty much not existent. Our second place is probably not the first place you would consider as a potential hideout, but I do. It's the dock cranes at Zaton. And before you start screaming, let me just explain, guys. The dock cranes at Zaton are a reasonable choice when you consider a good hideout. Of course, they're visible, but they're in a relatively safe area, or at least it's not more dangerous than the rest of the area, unless some dude is LARPing as a vampire at night. Most mutants won't be able to climb up the stairs to your hideout. It is a lockable hideout, you can lock the cabin, you have an amazing view of the area surrounding you, and of course you have enough space in those cranes to set up maybe even a small workshop to fix your stuff. Those are the good sides. They're easily accessible, you just have to climb the stairs up, and you can defend them quite well since there's only one way up, and this way up is visible from the top, so you can't be kinda door camped by your enemies. Speaking of enemies, if you have enemies and they know you live there, you will have trouble. Like, you will just have trouble, because this is an exposed spot, they will know where you live, and they can strike. Maybe they'll just beat you up, maybe they'll try to shoot you, but if you make some really powerful enemies, they will just take an RPG and send you straight to the Shadow Realm, and you will be gone for good. It is not the stealthiest locations unless you sneak in and sneak out while it's dark and nobody sees you in there. You can cover up the windows with cardboard probably, or any kind of old blankets. So you can actually probably use this one as a hideout. And I know some of you might start meowing about, oh, S.T.A.L.K.E.R costumes, but the emissions, dude, my dude, remember that this game considers that place as a safe shelter during emissions. So don't even start with the emission topic. I think that this place would be able to shelter you from an emission. I would consider this as a relatively safe hideout, not as safe as Rostock, but still not the worst. I would consider this place as relatively accessible, probably quite well accessible. It's hard to cut you off from that hideout, and of course, it is not the stealthiest, but I would say it's probably is stealthier than the place in Rostock, because the area itself is not too crowded, and if you sneak in and sneak out during night hours or early in the morning, you might have a chance that people will not see that you live up there or have you hideout up there, which is good. So the challenges in this one, of course, insulation and heat as well. Making sure you kind of cover up the windows, maybe even weld a sheet metal onto them so it is someplace that people cannot enter by force. Leave the windows that are safe uncovered so you can actually like spy out and see what's going on outside, and probably carrying all that stuff up the stairs. So take that into consideration when thinking about this hideout, but I consider this as a potential hideout for maybe 1 up to 3 people. Number 3. Our third potential hideout takes us out to the army warehouses. And while this area does not have too many good locations, there is one location that I would consider as quite suitable for a stalker squad. And in Shadow of Chernobyl, we actually see 4 people, mercenaries, camping at that place. It's the mercenary outpost. The mercenary outpost is on the very corner of the army warehouse map, meaning it's a little bit far off, thus it's also well hidden. It is also quite covered by foliage and trees, so we can't spot it from outside instantly. It has fences around it, so there's only one entrance that you can actually use to get in and out, which is good. I mean, good for you and also good for defending that place. And it is also an area that you can at least a little bit see around and scout before leaving and entering, so getting ambushed might be not that common. So what does this place have to offer? First of all, it has barricades, it has crates, it has a trailer, and also a nice fireplace and old vehicles. While I don't care too much about the vehicles, I could see myself sleeping in that trailer, and I could see myself cooking at the fire. Overall, this place is rather something for more experienced stalkers, since army warehouses is a more difficult area, especially being so close to monolith forces. What's the downside? Well, while this hideout is itself relatively safe, its surroundings are not. Imagine, you just came back from Rostock. You finally fulfilled one of your contracts. Your rucksack is stuffed with supplies, with food, maybe some medicals, maybe even like a new gun that you want to take to your hideout. And you leave Rostock and you are on your way to your hideout. But it's getting dark. And it's getting darker. And darker. Of course, you could go the long way, which might be a little bit more safe. But even though you would have to pass at least in visibility of the border to Raider and Bloodsucker Village. Or you would have to go through Bloodsucker Village itself, or close by. So imagine you could have chosen. Your way home could have looked like this, or your way home now has to look like this. So, do you really want to return like that? Still, I would say if you are a squad of 4 experienced stalkers, maybe 2 of them Saver, 2 of them Exoskeleton, you're pumped up with gear, you know, S.T.A.L.K.E.R or Winter-S, fully armed, you could probably take the challenge. So, just consider this place is not for our cordon boys, this place is for the big boys in the big expensive gears. Still, valid location for experienced stalkers and especially experienced stalker squads. Our number 4 is definitely nothing for rookies. Pripyat. Yeah, it's getting even worse. It's Pripyat. Imagine you are on a mission in Pripyat, something happens, something goes wrong, you are stuck, it's getting dark, and you could return while it's dark. But do you want that? I sure don't. So you need a plan B. And that plan B is to find a shelter, a somewhat safe location where you can spend the night until it gets brighter and you can pack up your gear and leave for good. What could this place be? For me, it's one of the apartments in Pripyat, and not just any apartment, but one of the apartments close to the wandering chemical anomaly. Of course, it is probably not the best location to spend your time at all in, but it is a somewhat decent hideout, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it's just one of many apartments, meaning if someone looks for you, he has to scout through all of those apartments. Second, you have 2 ways to enter and leave. You can either enter and leave through the balcony or through the apartment door and the staircase, which is good. It's generally always good to have a second way in and out, especially if something goes wrong or you're getting door camped by a mutant, a bandit, another stalker, monolith forces, or whatever this hellhole of city comes up with for you at night. So what are the challenges? The challenges are you need to at first lock the door to the floor and staircase, or even barricade it up, which should be possible because like most of these apartments still have furniture in them. Furthermore, you need to cover up the windows, either with blankets, with barricades, furniture, doesn't matter, just cover the windows. My fellow Project Zomboid players will probably know why. Shout out to you Project Zomboid veterans, you know how hard it can get to survive at night in a house that doesn't even belong to you. Also, you will have to consider a part of the area is always lightened up because of this wandering anomaly. You would say this could be bad? Yeah, it probably is. You won't be able to leave and enter through that part of the building without being at least exposed to light and thus somewhat visible. Which is also good, meaning that whatever tries to enter through that side is visible from the apartment building as well. And furthermore, I would even go that far and say that the anomaly itself is quite a beneficial aspect for this hideout because it might scare away mutants. This location itself is rather stealthy. Even though it is in a quite exposed location, it kinda blends in perfectly and it's one of many choices to hide in. So, it is not a unique hideout, it doesn't stick out at all. It's just one of many hideout options in the area. Thus I would say it's rather stealthy, especially because you have 2 ways to get in and out and you can cover the windows and doors. Safety. My brother, this is Pripyat. There's nothing safe in that city. So no, even though I would say it's a place you can defend quite well, man, it's Pripyat. It is not a safe place. So let's not even discuss this. If you're stranded at night in Pripyat, you're pretty much done. This is a nightmare. So no, it's not a safe place. It is somewhat accessible. I would say it's not very well accessible unless you're in Pripyat itself, because it's far off, or the regular area stalkers tend to be. So it's not safe, it's not accessible, but it has a somewhat decent stealth value. And if it's your last choice, or if you, for some reason whatsoever, I don't judge you, man. I think it's weird, but I won't judge. If you for some reason whatsoever decide to have your hideout in Pripyat and be a stalker in the Pripyat area, I mean, it's a choice. And unless you want to chill at Laundromat and get in contact with the military, who might even, you know, sack you in and take you out of the zone for good and put you in a prison, I don't think that you will find many better locations in Pripyat itself than this apartment. So when you're stuck at Pripyat at night, you will have to take what you get, I guess. Those are my 4 hideout locations. They're all different and they have pros and cons. But before I start ranting about that S.T.A.L.K.E.R hideout is not a good location, and before I explain why this is not a good hideout location, let me just sum up why those things are relevant for us Stalker cosplayers and Stalker LARPers. Let me just give you a quick example how this would affect the gear of your potential Stalker character. Imagine you're a rookie, you don't have a big hideout, but you have a longer way to venture. Your hideout is just an old truck that you climb into and sleep in. It's probably not the best hideout location, but it is a hideout location. In this truck you have an old mattress, but you have no blanket, nothing to cover yourself in there. So you carry a blanket, or you carry one of those fabric triangles that the Soviet army uses for tents, the German army uses for tents. You can use it as a poncho, or you can use it as a blanket, or as a tarp. So you have that one on your gear as well. Your rucksack is well packed, you have some supplies on it, and you also have a little gas stove with you so you can cook food in that thing. Furthermore, you have a woolen blanket wrapped around your rucksack on the top, which is fitted with leather straps, just like the old German army used to do it. And you have a little light with you. Nothing fancy, just a little flashlight that will last for some hours. Overall, you have light, you have some decent comfort to not freeze to death, and you will be able to have food in that place. It's not the safest place, but since it's in Cordon, the level of threat is also rather low, and since the truck itself is a little bit far off, most stalkers will probably not come around and peek inside, especially not during the night hours when you're in there. And when you are out of there, of course, most of your stuff is gone, so they don't even know that you have a camp there. Low comfort, low safety, but well hidden, high stealth value. And as you see, your hideout affects pretty much the gear and equipment of your character. Of course, when you're like a true expert stalker, you will have a good hideout, you will have gear in that hideout, you will not carry a blanket around on your exoskeleton. So this is how those things interact with each other. So what about S.T.A.L.K.E.R's hideout? Well, it is hard to tell whether S.T.A.L.K.E.R is a true expert stalker or not. He sure is one who is able to survive in a lot of difficult situations. There must be something onto it, I guess. What about his hideout? Well, you guys remember Agro Prom Underground. I mean, we can just go together and check it out, you know? Just remember how you have to get in that. You have to get through one of those beautiful bunker entrances. You have to go down through those long tunnels, which we also kind of remember from Tarkovsky's Stalker movie. We have to go through those awful tunnels, we have to fight bandits on our way, we have to fight mutants on our way, not only once but twice, Bloodsucker and Telepath, 2 of the most scary mutants in the entire game. We have to pass anomalies, and in the end we even have to bother with military. How is that an accessible location? It's not. It's awful. And also, Imagine you just want to go to that place to recover from your expeditions, from your raids into the zone, to maybe talk with your group, plan stuff, and you have to fight your way through this hell. That's awful. That's a bad hideout. It's not accessible, not at all, and it's not safe unless we really have a way down there that we do not know in the Stalker games. Because maybe there is another way down there that's more safe. Maybe it is. I don't know. I can't tell you. But unless there is a more safe and direct way down there, I would not set up my camp down there. Even though I can understand why S.T.A.L.K.E.R did it, because this place is not safe at all. This place is not accessible at all, but it is damn stealthy. We have to be honest about that. I think many stalkers in my first playthrough accidentally just passed the way into the S.T.A.L.K.E.R's hideout. Maybe once or twice, and had to look for it and return. And it's well hidden. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you will probably not even find S.T.A.L.K.E.R's hideout down there. And which same person would go down there to hunt for artifacts or whatever? I sure wouldn't, at least not alone. So that's the thing. But imagine you are down there, you're in your hideout, someone wants to get rid of you. Of course, when you know someone is door camping you down there, you can drop a grenade down there. But so can that person that is standing down there. They can also just yeet a grenade up into your hideout. And you're done. So overall, it's not a good hideout location. I'm deeply sorry, but I think S.T.A.L.K.E.R's hideout is a bad hideout location. I know that some of my hideout locations are worse. There are probably many amazing locations that I unfortunately missed out on completely. So if I missed out something good, let me know in the comments below. And let me know in the comments below if you would pick one of the locations that I took. And if you had to pick one, how would you set up your camp there? What would you get inside of it? How would you build up your hideout in the certain location that you prefer out of the 4? Remember, your favorite pick will get a special video where we actually set up our camp in one of those locations. Maybe with Blender, maybe with Fusion, maybe I'll do it in Gary's mod. We'll see about that. And whatever place you decide is good, we will be going there. So make sure to join the Stalker Squad by subscribing to this YouTube channel. And thank you so much for your amazing support. This channel has been doing quite well, and I will be doing more content in the future because you guys want Stalker gaming content and you will get this gaming content. I'll try to get a little bit of, cosplay stuff into that as well. So let me know what you desire in the future videos, and make sure to follow so you don't miss up on any of our further expeditions into the zone. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see each other in the next video. Until then, good hunting, stalkers.